UFC Vegas 107. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'll be live for the entire card Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. And let's get into the first fight of the night. Ladies going after it to start off, Raoni dos Santos versus Elise Ardelean. I'm going to go with Raoni dos Santos in this fight. I'd say it's a lot closer than the betting lines have you believing in this matchup. It's low-level women's MMA at 115. Amanda should be, or Raoni dos Santos, formerly Raoni Amanda, she should be a little bit faster in the kickboxing. I think a little bit cleaner with her striking technique, and I would say she's more accurate with her punching and kicks. Whereas on the side of Ardelean, she does have good forward pressure, walks women down fairly well, okay wrestling, has ability to get takedowns and garner some control time. She gave Shauna Bannon a decent enough fight almost a year ago now, and she lost a split decision there. It's just, come on, man. Between these two girls, you got to flip a coin one way or the other. I feel like Dos Santos has good jiu-jitsu skills. I think she's the better kickboxer. I think she's technically more sound, and I feel like she's going to have a good enough, 3-round cardio to keep the volume fairly high. Whereas Ardelean, I think she's going to look to pressure Raoni dos Santos, put her against the cage, maybe even drag her down, but I don't think that'll be easy to do. That's really where I'm getting at, is I think Raoni dos Santos has the defensive grappling abilities to, for the most part, stay upright and kickbox. And I think she should be slightly sharper than Elise Ardelean. For Dos Santos, I mean, the resume is not looking good. Puja Tomar split decision loss, and then the Talita Alencar split decision loss. She could have got that Tomar fight, to be real with you. It was a damn close decision. And like split against Alencar, you got to give some respect to Alencar. She got high-level jits. She won a fight recently. It's just this is the lowest caliber of women's MMA. I mean, you have 9-7 record, which it's kind of crazy to see that shit on the UFC roster in 2025. Like, you would think we'd be far gone from having 9-7 fighters on the UFC roster. And then, at least Raoni dos Santos got 14 Ws, 8 Ls. Both these girls have, had their fair shares of ups and downs. Little bit younger on the side of Dos Santos. I feel like she's kind of coming into her prime now. And even though the, UFC start is not looking great, there's been moments where I've like, oh, Raoni's got some potential. She looks pretty clean. She's not an awful fighter. I feel like Raoni dos Santos is relatively good. Now, Elise Ardelean, she's kind of more gritty brawler style. It was a Denise Gomes decision loss in 2022 also for Dos Santos. So she's fought good opposition. Elise Ardelean, listen, I'm giving her respect for taking that fight against Shauna Bannon, stepping in and putting up a good effort, but then Melissa Martinez handled her. She's got the Weili Zhang loss in 2016, which I guess that kind of looks nice on the resume. The Annabelle beat her. We're looking way back. I think Dos Santos wins this fight. Ardelean's got pressure, but I feel like she can just get caught chasing Raoni dos Santos around the damn cage a lot of this fight. We'll go close decision, Dos Santos. Minus 255. Wow. Those are the odds for this one. Plus 215 for Ardelean. Betting wise, I feel like stay away, or maybe going over at minus 480. Then Amanda like locks in a weird armbar or something, because Ardelean's been submitted, but not at the high level of the UFC. But outside of it, she's been sub before. I feel like Dos Santos or Raoni Amanda on freaking fight odds, I feel like she wins. She should pull through. I think she's a little better at striking. The jiu-jitsu should be there. It's not like Ardelean is this beastly wrestler. She's younger. She could show more improvement fight to fight. Hasn't fought in about a year. And on the opposite side, we saw Ardelean get handled by Martinez 6 months ago. I'll go Dos Santos decision. 29-28 could be a split, but I do see a Dos Santos hand raised at the end. Betting-wise, though, minus 255. Women's fight, first fight of the night. Maybe you stay away. Next fight. This is actually a really good light heavyweight prospect battle. It's Markel Mederos versus Bolaji Oki. I'm going to go with Markel Mederos. And I know a lot of you guys that watch the channel frequently are going to be like, bro, you're biased because he's been on the show. Listen, all right? I like Markel Mederos. He's a cool guy. If he's watching, shout out to Markel for coming on the show. But that's not why I'm picking him, though. He is technically sharper than Bolaji Oki, and I think he definitely has better movement / footwork overall. And I think his technicality is a factor in this matchup. I feel like he could do well ripping some low kicks to Oki, staying on the bicycle, working some straight shots on the inside. The biggest thing you have to avoid with Oki, he does have real power in his hands, but he also has this twitch where he like jerks his punch for a second before he explodes in big combination. I look at Markel Mederos as a prospect of Benson Henderson, who had a very high fight IQ. I think like, okay, game plan wise, I feel like Mederos' team will have something cooked up for him here that could work fairly well. Now, Markel Mederos is not like a high caliber wrestler, right? When you think of his style, you think of more of the striking, more of the, I don't want to say point fighting, but picking his shots from range and staying moving. But I do think there's a chance that he could attempt to engage in wrestling in this fight, not so much with like high confidence on dragging Bolaji Oki to the ground and beating him up, but more with the mentality of let me interrupt the striking of Oki. If Oki starts getting his hands flowing, starts throwing power shots, he tends to sit on his shots and really load up. I think there's an opportunity for Mederos to, at the very least, threaten with takedowns to force a reset into Bolaji Oki's striking game. Now, if you just sit there in the pocket and slug fists with Oki, you're in a 50-50 fight where you're definitely at risk of getting chinned. He has power in his hands for sure, and don't let the Timmy Kawamba fight make you fall victim to believing Bolaji Oki has no threat of anything. Like, he's not a complete can. Obviously, the Chris Duncan fight didn't go his way. Got locked into Gilly and choked out early in the fight, but he landed a big punch on the feet. He definitely hits hard. Like, when I think of Bolaji Oki, I think of scary punching. He's a good boxer. He's a power hitter. He's a brawler. He works the body pretty well, too. Markel Mederos is going to have to use distance. Now, of course, worrisome call because of the small cage as well, right? There's not going to be as much room to get that footwork flowing for Markel Mederos. And I think Bolaji Oki could definitely back him up and throw hard shots. But like I said, assuming the team's got the game plan on point, mixing in some takedown threats, even if they aren't successful, I believe is a good strategy for success in this one for Markel Mederos, who's going to have a striking advantage from the green zone. He's better at kickboxing from long range than Bolaji Oki, without a doubt. Where things get testy is in closer range. Now, he doesn't have super long reach, but a good jab, even with the 69.5-inch reach, I think is still effective here against Oki. As Oki looks to throw hard, I think Mederos could be slicker, stay moving, and avoid the brawl. That's a big factor. And if he does that, I do think Markel Mederos could outpoint the heavy-handed Bolaji Oki and put together, I would say, the biggest win of his life for sure. I know he just beat Austin Hubbard, who's an Ultimate Fighter finalist and, a long-time fighter on his second UFC run. But this feels bigger because, like, Oki, prior to that Chris Duncan fight, was still a highly touted prospect. Even after the fight against Chris Duncan, he's still seen as a scary threat. He's still seen as a bit of like a freak athlete that has a lot of potential if he can really put things together. I just think Markel Mederos, a little higher fight IQ, right? A little more technically proficient. And I think game planning can win the battle here of prospects. And I'm going to have faith in the team that Markel Mederos is with to go out there and perform. Tactical decision, outpointing Bolaji Oki in close fashion. And he will be pushed to a very difficult point because I promise you, Oki is going to have moments in this fight where he will blitz with big punch combinations, backing Markel Mederos up. But I think Markel will be okay. It's plus 160 for Markel Mederos. Bolaji Oki is minus 185. I mean, it probably goes long, but the Oki power threat is scary. So a sweaty over 2.5 at minus 170. Ultimately, money line, Markel Mederos is a dog. I think he's a live dog. I was interested to find out he was also a popular people's dog. He is undefeated in the UFC. He did look pretty damn good, too, on the Contender Series. I mean, Oki looked solid on Contender as well. He looked like a destroyer of worlds against Dylan Salvador. But I don't think that Dylan Salvador has the craft to his overall MMA game that a Markel Mederos was. Like, the reason that Oki looks so good is that Salvador is a kickboxer who's going to play into that striking only game. And he's going to sit in the pocket. He's going to look to throw. He's going to get backed up and bullied a bit. And he got broken in that fight, to be real with you. And obviously, Oki ripped some heavy body shots that put him to the ground. But he was broken first. And I think Markel Mederos is Not going to wilt or break. I think he's going to stay moving. I think he's going to stay technical. I think he's going to stay confident. And with a MMA-based game plan, mixing up all aspects of the game and then using his technicality in the kickboxing, I feel like we're going to see Markel Mederos win a hard-fought decision against a dangerous athlete in Bolaji Oki. So the call is going to be Mederos, probably 29-28, close decision, back and forth fight. But I think the more tactical and clean kickboxing beats the power-based style. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Jordan Leavitt versus Kurt Holobaugh. The pick for me here is going to be Jordan Leavitt. I believe in the Monkey King in this matchup. Now, Kurt Holobaugh, he's got really dangerous stand-up. He's a fun brawler on the feet, throws hard shots. Honestly, his striking's scary. Like, if Jordan Leavitt's just in a kickboxing match with Kurt Holobaugh, I'm breaking this thing down totally different. But my God, Kurt Holobaugh's takedown defense is subpar. And on top of subpar takedown defense, he also has a subpar get-up game. He's very confident in using jiu-jitsu from bottom position, but I really think that's a recipe for disaster when you get to the UFC level. And we saw it against Hernandez last fight. Good striking from Holobaugh, but when the grappling was engaged, Holobaugh was on his back for extended periods of time and not able to work up to his feet. He's not great at his get-up game. I mean, even the Trey Ogden fight, he got dominated with wrestling. And now I got Jordan Leavitt, who's definitely a pretty good wrestler, definitely pretty good at smothering control, kind of has that like freak strength factor too. He's just got like awkward strength to him. And I think in the grappling exchanges, Jordan Leavitt will be the one that ends up in top position. And I think that Jordan Leavitt will be able to control position for a lot of this fight. I expect the awkward style of Jordan Leavitt to just find ways on top of Kurt Holobaugh. He could definitely embrace the grind, and we could end up looking at another decision here in this fight with Leavitt getting it on the cards, potentially even 30-27 with like a heavy wrestling-based game. But if he got Holobaugh's back, I feel like Leavitt's got a tight squeeze. Maybe he could lock something up, but I'm not going to officially pick it. Just a possibility of sub that Leavitt has here. Probably, though, Jordan Leavitt wins a decision, and we get Kurt Holobaugh throwing some shots from bottom, and if he gets chances to strike on the feet, I'm sure he'll have some okay moments there. But Jordan Leavitt, though his striking is not clean, you watch his striking, you're like, yo, it's clunky and awkward. Because of his like serious wrestling threat, there is a bit of craft to his striking. Like, it kind of works for him a bit. He got some punches off on Paddy Pimblett, and Kurt Holobaugh is no maestro like Chase Hooper at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I really think that Jordan Leavitt gets this fight to the ground, and I think he shows his level of grappling skill and dominance from top position enough so to handle the 38-year-old Kurt Holobaugh. Another thing that I'm not even mentioning is Jordan Leavitt's a young guy, 29 years of age, could show vast improvements. I don't think at 38 years old, Kurt Holobaugh is going to just magically improve his get-up game and takedown defense. Like, his style is his style. And I think Jordan Leavitt's style matches up well here with Kurt Holobaugh. And I expect takedowns, control, and very control-based decision. Jordan Leavitt, he's around -190 as the favorite. I feel it's pretty likely that he's going to end up landing a lot of takedowns. Maybe not a lot, maybe 3 takedowns in the fight, and he lands them, and he's just locked in top position with Holobaugh striking from bottom and like throwing up triangles and omoplatas. +165 for Holobaugh. I do not think he wins as a dog here. And I've picked Holobaugh. I've won with Holobaugh. I've lost with Holobaugh. You guys know I like Kurt Holobaugh's style. It's fun to watch. I think he's an absolute dog. But the takedown defense, way too suspect for me to go out and pick him. Over 2.5 -160. Like I said, Leavitt decision or submission, most likely. But the money line on Leavitt, I feel like it could be a live parlay piece because Holobaugh's definitely given up takedowns. And unless he gets the one-shot KO, which I don't think he does against Jordan Leavitt, I see Leavitt winning the majority of this fight. Leavitt last time out, like I said, Chase Hooper a year and a half ago, but Chase Hooper's a maestro. Fight before that, he looked actually dangerous as hell against Victor Martinez on the feet. Then a loss to Paddy Pimblett nearly 3 years ago. And then we're looking back to the Trey Ogden win back 3 years ago. Which now in 2025, the win over Trey Ogden for Jordan Leavitt actually looks pretty good. Like, that's a solid W to have against, a guy in Ogden who's done relatively well against okay competition like Zellhuber, even though obviously lost most recently to Moises, who's turned out to be a can. But we're going off on a side tangent. I think Jordan Leavitt pulls off a wrestling-based decision, taking Kurt Holobaugh down, avoiding the big striking attacks from Holobaugh, avoiding submissions from top position or bottom position from Holobaugh, throwing him up on Leavitt from top position, and he controls a lot of this fight with wrestling. So the pick is going to be Jordan Leavitt for the W. I think he has a solid performance that gets a little respect back on the name, you know? They must have forgot about Jordan Leavitt. You know, the king of the nerds is coming through once again. Next fight on the card. This is a crazy ass catchweight fight. 180-pound catchweight, Andreas Gustafsson versus Trevin Giles. So initially, Andreas Gustafsson was scheduled to fight against Jeremiah Wells, who's an absolute powerhouse and a physical specimen. That was a great matchup. Pulls out of the fight last week. Trevin Giles takes it on short notice, which is why we're doing it at 180, not 170. Now, nonetheless, I am still going to pick the side of Andreas Gustafsson over Trevin Giles. But I will say, not cutting that extra 10 pounds, Trevin Giles could definitely have a bit more durability because we've seen the chin fail him at 170. But at 180, maybe there's a chance that chin holds up a bit better. Now, the reason I like Andreas Gustafsson specifically is because we're at the apex, right? The dude is the essence of a smotherer. He's literally going to stick to you like glue and use his Greco-Roman wrestling base as like a base to throw a lot of dirty boxing shots in close range. He's going to get tight on the inside with you, and he's not going to shake off. Like, you better work like hell to get him off, and then you get off, you get a little space, he's backing you up right away. Trevin Giles has good hook combinations, and I will say he does have some hand speed, and boxing-wise, he's sharper than Gustafsson. But the problem is Gustafsson's relentless, and I don't think Trevin Giles has the power to force Gustafsson into a retreat. So Trevin Giles landing decent punches on the feet, but then back up in the bad position, backed up against the cage, getting ripped with shots to the body and head in the clinch. We've seen Trevin Giles chin fail him. I get it. It was at 170, not 180, but he's also taking this fight on short notice. I think he's at a physicality disadvantage. I think Gustafsson's going to look strong as hell too at 180 pounds. And this clinch smothering style is one of those styles that absolutely drains the gas tank. And I think we could see a slowed down Trevin Giles come round, even like late round 2, but especially round 3. And Gustafsson just does not stop. The dude is like psychotic. I like the pressure-based style. Obviously, his win over Pat Piletic, like when it happened, it was impressive in the fashion that he did it. But, you know, Pat's 35 years old, even though he's a 9-1 prospect. Like, he fought once in like 3 years. So it's not like it was a win against this highly touted up-and-comer. It was a win against, you know, a guy who's 35 years old and relatively decent. So the Trevin Giles fight is a legit jump in competition. But I like the matchup for Gustafsson, man, especially a Giles who's got shit momentum right now. He's lost 3 fights in a row. Did do okay going distance against Mike Malott. That actually aged really well, but different style to Mike Malott than the smothering pressure of Gustafsson. Fight before that was landed big shots on Carlos Prates before getting separated from consciousness, and then was quickly subbed up in the fight before that. But when I look at this fight here, Preston Parsons fight, the fight that people say, oh, it's a win for him. Preston Parsons pushed Trevin Giles a lot in that fight. He backed him up. He took him down a bit. He made it a dirty fight. Sure, Giles had moments, and he ends up winning a split decision, right? The reversal game of Giles, not terrible. Defensive wrestling, not terrible. But I think Andreas Gustafsson is going to have insane forward pressure in this fight, enough so to diminish that gas tank of Giles, where potentially Gustafsson's landing takedowns in the later stage of this fight, landing big ground and pound shots. I think Gustafsson KO or decision is like the most likely outcome. And if it is a KO, I could see it later stage, a worn down and exhausted Giles caught with a big elbow or a big punch in the clinch, and he falls and then it's pounded on. Yeah, I definitely think Andreas Gustafsson is going to outwork Giles. It's a matter of, does he get him out? And I get it, though, right? Trevin Giles is still kind of quick, though. Hand speed isn't bad, right? He had moments against Prates. There's positives to look at with Trevin Giles. But I look at the matchup, and I'm like, yo, this Andreas Gustafsson guy's insane. This Andreas Gustafsson guy's crazy. The only worry is, right, he comes from Contender Series to the UFC, and we see him at the weigh-ins, and he loses 5 pounds, 10 pounds of muscle. Then we're worried about some fucking foreign supplementation that's not allowed in the UFC that was, you know, aiding those performances. Not saying it's true, though. Not saying it's going to be the case, and I hope not. The pick is, if we get the Andreas Gustafsson that's an absolute dog, does not quit on himself, in fantastic physical condition, strong, beating you up on the inside, he's going to wilt to Trevin Giles. He might get hit with some big shots. He might even get wobbled, but I don't think he goes unconscious. The dude seems to have a strong chin and definitely has shown that in like that back and forth brawl a few years back, or I guess 2 years back. Even though, Lampinen is not really that good. And, it's like, okay, Lampinen cut him open. But still, Gustafsson was beating his ass. But he was willing to sit in there and brawl. And he showed that chin can absorb big shots, man. And I think chin for chin, Gustafsson is a lot better than Giles. So I'm going to go with Gustafsson to break Trevin Giles in this fight. And I'll lean later stage KO, but decision live as well. Minus 165 for Gustafsson, plus 135 for Trevin Giles. I like the chances of Gustafsson melting him. The over 2.5 is plus money, so finish is anticipated. I like the later stage KO finish, though. I get it. Trevin Giles' chin's worrisome throughout, but I can see this fight going over 1.5. Don't know what the line is. But I like Gustafsson's chances. He's not a big favorite. He's minus 165, playable line. Obviously, it's a UFC debut, but he's a dog and a half, man. And we've seen Trevin Giles turtle up and fall to the mat. We've seen him fall straight on his back. And I think we see Andreas Gustafsson, continue Trevin Giles' downfall, really, and handle business. So I'm going with Bane to get it done. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, the ladies are going after it here. It's Ketlen Vieira versus Macy Chiasson. I'm going to lean towards Macy Chiasson. I feel like I have intuition in this one that's speaking to me. It's like Macy Chiasson has always been just one fight away from like actually mixing it up for the title, right? But then she takes the L against Aldana in a fight that she's winning, right? Takes the L against Pennington in a fight that she won the first round. Chiasson's always getting close, and then taking the L. She fights Ketlen Vieira here, who's good, and she's got, some Muay Thai. She's got some heavy low kicks, some decent hooks. She's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's definitely physically imposing, but she's going to be at a nice 3-inch in height and reach disadvantage. Macy Chiasson's clinch game is underrated. She's strong on the inside. She's got that wiry frame that just tends to be hard to move. She got decent strikes in the clinch too. On top of that, her distance striking is solid. She's comfortable in both stances. She moves pretty well from the outside. I don't see her getting dropped with some wide-ass hook from Ketlen Vieira. And I think Macy Chiasson could be active with more straight shots down the line, little work in the clinch, and have success in the stand-up game. And I wouldn't be shocked if Macy Chiasson ended up on top of Ketlen Vieira having moments, man. I really think this could be Macy's breakout performance fight. Both girls 33 years of age. Macy's a winner of the Ultimate Fighter. But like I said, that next level jump just hasn't happened for her yet. Ketlen Vieira, she just fought in a #1 contender fight against Kayla Harrison, and she lost. And, she looked tough in the fight, but she was getting thrown around a bit. She's not bad. Ketlen Vieira's not bad. Don't get it twisted. But even late against Pannie Kianzad, she's on her back, right? Kianzad's letting some ground and pound fly. Chiasson beat Kianzad twice, and the last time she fought, she subs her up. I feel like Chiasson's got more oomph to her game right now. She's hungry, right? She's trying to just pull through and get this chance. And I feel like, not to say that Ketlen Vieira is like complacent where she's at, but consistently let down, right, at the higher level. You can say, oh, but Chiasson too, but I don't know. I feel like this shift in skills with Chiasson, whereas Vieira, I feel like she's a little too flat for the top, man. I don't see it. I'm going to go with Macy Chiasson to outwork Ketlen Vieira. Vieira also has this loss here to Raquel Pennington. Yana Santos beat her a few years back. I thought that was a bad decision, to be fair. But ultimately, we've seen Ketlen Vieira lose battles in close range in the clinch. We've seen Macy Chiasson show a lot of strength in the clinch, submission threat in the clinch, and she got that W over Norma Dumont, which I think has aged really well. I'm going to say Macy Chiasson gets a close decision in this fight. I think she beats Ketlen Vieira. I think she looks solid in the striking. I think in the clinch, she works well with Ketlen. I can see her landing elbows on the inside, knees to the body, using that length in the clinch with the leverage advantage and all. Dragging this fight to the ground potentially and garnering some control time, letting some punches go from top. I'm going to say Chiasson also will finish this fight strong. Round number 3 comes. I feel like Chiasson's going to have some steam. And I think she's going to end up beating Ketlen Vieira in a back-and-forth fight. I'm going Macy Chiasson for the W. She gets the decision nod against longtime Brazilian, I want to say hyped up prospect, because that's what she kind of is in Ketlen Vieira. Minus 115 for Macy Chiasson to minus 105 Ketlen Vieira. Let's see if anything's intriguing about lines here. Over is minus 350. Most likely, I think this fight's going to the cards. And I really think that Ketlen Vieira is going to get outworked. I see her losing the third round. I see her getting outpaced in the fight. I see her getting taken down at some point. I see her getting caught with decent shots on the feet. Not that I don't see her landing heavy low kicks and maybe a couple punches over the top and backing Chiasson up and just being strong on the inside and being a bit of a dog. But I think Macy Chiasson's better, man. I just feel like the improvements are there. I'm going to say Macy Chiasson pulls this one through, and I think she breaks into that next level. And I don't know if like number one contender shot. I don't know exactly what's next, but I'll say this. She's fresh blood for the top, for sure. Obviously, the Raquel Pennington fight, but Pennington not the champ. Pena and Harrison fighting. Obviously, Amanda Nunes going to be fighting the winner, supposedly. Maybe not if it's Pena. So Chiasson with this win is in the running for, at the very least, the top contender fight, but maybe even potentially a damn title shot. I'm going to say it's her time to shine. Macy Chiasson gets the W, takes out Ketlen Vieira, and I think she looks pretty good. I think she does. I think she's going to show improvements and keep getting better each and every fight, and I think she pulls the biggest win out ever for herself. Next fight on the card, we have the featured prelim, Alan Nascimento versus Jafel Filho. Making a pick on this one, man. That's how I feel. I'm going Alan Nascimento to win. I was flip-flopping on this one. I'll be 100% real with you guys, but something tells me Nascimento's got more promise at the top. I feel like Nascimento's pretty good, man. It's not that Filho isn't good. Filho's decent, but it's like Nascimento, something whispers to me Alan Nascimento's athleticism. Alan Nascimento is not going to be getting taken down and thrown around by Filho. I could see back and forth grappling exchanges between the two. I could see Filho being a dog and trying to be tough from top position, and then Nascimento hitting reversal, like getting back up to his feet. I see them striking. I see Nascimento as faster. I see Nascimento as cleaner. He's a little taller, a little longer. I don't think those are massive difference makers, but maybe a little better from the outside. He likes that front kick. Maybe he lands a nice one on Filho. Filho's definitely going to be relentless, but something he does do is he likes to fall to his back. I guess in the battle of jiu-jitsu players here, we could see both of them in those type of positions. But I feel like Nascimento could outwork Filho. We've seen Filho subbed before, too. Mokaev subbed him after Filho nearly broke Mokaev's leg in half with the knee bar. But he also got subbed up outside of the UFC before. Alan Nascimento, all losses, competitive decision losses. It's felt like Alan Nascimento was going to make a splash in the UFC for a long time. But the dude is out of fight after fight after fight after fight. So I have to worry about Nascimento being, inactive as fuck, 2.5 years out. Fights getting canceled. He had an illness before their fight that was originally booked a few months back or several months back. I'm going to say that the crafty skill set of Nascimento can get him the win, though. It's not that Filho isn't skillful. He is, but I don't know if he has the same flair in his style. Like in the striking, I feel like Nascimento's a little more athletic. He could be more surprising. Filho's a bit more basic in the striking, especially. He brings pressure. He throws good shots, but more so to mix in the grappling. Whereas I think Nascimento, he also kind of does the same thing in a sense, but a little more athletic in the striking department, a little more explosiveness, probably a little more power. Even though Filho does get that nice Roy Boyd Echeverria KO from the damn Contender Series. He backed him up and cracked him with big shots. I think Nascimento could neutralize the striking attack. I think Nascimento could land takedowns and maybe outmuscle Filho. But then Filho will have moments getting on top too. You see what I'm saying? We're looking at the coin flip of the century over here. We got layoff on layoff. You want to go 2.5 year layoff or you want to go 1.5 year? 1 year and 2 months. But still, I feel like Nascimento finds a way. I feel like he finds a way, and I'll kick myself if I don't pick it. Because I've liked Nascimento for years, man. I felt like Nascimento when they first were booked. I'm like, all right, Nascimento outworks Filho. And then they book it again, and I'm like, damn, Nascimento been out a long time. And Filho, he pulled off that sub win over Albazi in grappling, or he didn't sub him, beat him by decision. I guess not that big of a deal. Nascimento's got nice jiu-jitsu. I feel like the grappling cancels one another out. And then when I'm thinking about striking, I feel like Nascimento's sharper. I feel like Nascimento's more powerful. Filho might have more volume, but I like the guy that brings more of the danger threat. I'm going to say Alan Nascimento pulls through. When there's a will, there's a way. I think it's going to be a close-ass fight. I think it's a competitive battle of two guys that are really good at jiu-jitsu. I think that Nascimento's more athletic. I think Nascimento's a slightly better striker. But I will say this. A lot of these damn faith-based fighters been winning, man. And Jafel Filho is a pastor on the side, okay? So, I don't know, man. The spirit of God inside, I have to worry a bit on the side of Nascimento. But skill set-wise, I see Nascimento as a bit better. If they were going to fight in some regional scene fight in Brazil, and we ain't talking about layoffs, we just talking about what they're bringing to the table, I'd be like, I think Nascimento's my guy. I feel like he pulls through. But because he's been out a bit and Filho got the win over Ode Osborne, which doesn't really mean that much. He lost to fucking Ronaldo Rodriguez. He beat Daniel Barres, but Barres had him backing up. Nearly subbing Mokaev is impressive, but he's not going to get a sub on Alan Nascimento. I'm going to say Nascimento wins. It's like he disappeared 2.5 years out, right? The Carlos Hernandez sub, he looked like a fucking monster in that fight. If he can look like that savage again here, sky's the limit. I'm going to say that he wins. We're going Nascimento. We're going a nerve-wracking Nascimento call, but I am going to pick my guy. -170 for Nascimento. Filho +145. I think this is Nascimento's time to shine. I think he does deliver here at the biggest stage, which I guess, is this the biggest stage? At a bigger stage than not fighting. Over -165. Could see it going over, but Nascimento's worrisome. He could lock up a later stage sub because Filho been submitted before Nascimento. A lot of wins by sub, never been subbed. He's got sleeker jiu-jitsu too. I feel like Filho is like more traditionalist, whereas Nascimento is like more hybrid, mixed in with like the no-gi modern era, where I feel like Filho reminds me more of like the gi-based older era of jiu-jitsu, even though he's better than that, of course. I'm not saying he's just wearing the gi, but you get where I'm coming from if you know what I'm talking about with jiu-jitsu, all right? I'm going to say Nascimento. Bit slicker, bit sharper, bit more athletic, bit better. Finds a way to win against the damn toughest pastor on the planet. Next fight on the card, it brings us to our main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. We got Zach Reese versus Duško Todorović. I'm going to pick Zach Reese. I think that he could knock Todorović out, but don't be shocked if it goes distance. We've seen Todorović survive big punches from RoboCop. I know right now it's like, yo, Todorović made a glass, but he went 3 rounds with RoboCop. Even though it was back in 2021, I got to give him some credit. I know the chin has looked like it's completely gone now, and Zach Reese by KO is absolutely a live possibility, and it might even be the official pick, to be fair. But there's a chance that Todorović's chin holds up in the fight. It's just, to pick Todorović, it's hard for me, man. I can't. He's a big underdog. Even though I think Zach Reese is a flawed up-and-coming prospect, I feel like Todorović is just flawed, period. He's kind of like a plodding pressure brawler. He's got decent boxing, like enough so that he can land shots, but he also like lacks head movement, at least head movement at the right times. Like he'll move like a little slick and like do some head movement. But as far as like avoiding shots, he doesn't have like great reflexes. That's really what I feel about him. The chin comes up a bit as he looks to engage and throw power shots. My God, man, we've seen him knocked out a handful of times pretty bad. Last fight, he got fucking crumbled by Malik. He also got knocked out real bad by Chidi Bang Bang 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he tore his knee up against Leroy Duncan. Hasn't had a lot of success in the UFC. His wins in the UFC, too, are against some of the worst guys on the roster. Like, he beat Jordan Wright after getting his ass kicked early by the Beverly Hills Ninja. He beat Maki Pitolo, and he beat Daquan Townsend. And we've seen him knocked out a handful of times. Soriano chinned him. Chidi chins him. He got chinned recently by Mansour Abdul Malik. Zach Reese is a powerful kickboxer, man. Zach Reese has got some snap to his shots. Body kicks. Zach Reese is scary with his body kicks. A lot of oomph on him. Like, reminds me of like Luke Rockhold's body kicks back in the day. And Zach Reese also has some power in his hands. Definitely has clean shots on the feet. Got a good hook. He rips at least, some explosive combinations as he closes distance. The worry is that he got destroyed by Bakayev on the ground and got ground and pounded into oblivion, and Todorović got a lot of ground and pound wins. The damn fight against Brundage, he gets slammed on his head, but it doesn't look good. The Medina fight, he ends up going distance, but he's still dominated. Medina's tough, though. Whose chin's better? I say Medina's chin is better than Todorović's chin. Zach Reese landed a lot of power shots. I don't think that Todorović takes that type of a beating, to be fair. Even with body kicks, I feel like Todorović will turtle up. But then he knocked out Julian Marquez in 20 seconds. So Zach Reese has had like some wow moments, but also some what the fuck is that moments. Whereas Todorović just kind of just all what the fuck is that moments. Like even his win over Jordan Wright, he was getting his ass handed to him. And I feel like Zach Reese is better than that. I feel like Zach Reese is probably going to clip Todorović and knock him out. Don't be surprised if Reese looks for a sub, though, because he does have a tricky jiu-jitsu game, and he's got those long arms where he could lock up a ghillie or potentially, reverse and, like, attempt back take, rear naked choke in, like, a club and sub scenario. Excuse me. I'm dropping tears, man. My voice is starting to break. I'm getting ready to cry over here, man. I think Todorović loses again. I can't pick Todorović at all. But I do think that Zach Reese shows flaws in some of his fights. He's really explosive and like dangerous early, but when he starts getting hit, does not respond well to it. Chin's a little suspect. The ground and pound was bad with Bakoyev, but to be fair, Azamat Bakoyev's a fucking monster. Todorović is not, and I don't even think Todorović's wrestling is that good. I think Reese could stop the takedowns. I think Reese has striking success, lands some big shots, could win the grappling battle between the two. I'm gonna say Zach Reese chins Duško Todorović in the first 10 minutes. Minus 232 for Zach Reese. I agree. He should be a 2-1 favorite. The reason the line's, I guess, not that crazy is that Zach Reese potential glass slipper jaw. But we're going glass slipper versus glass slipper. I'm going to favor the guy with the fucking jackhammer in the glass slipper as opposed to pillow fist Todorović just lugging out slow hooks, Plus 197 for Todorović. Zach Reese should win this fight. Zach Reese should win this fight, and he should look scary doing it. Under a round and a half is minus 180. What the fuck? I feel like it could end up going over, but under 2.5 is better. I think this fight definitely ends inside of the distance, and I think that Zach Reese most likely is knocking Duško out. I feel like Duško's just too slow in the pocket, too willing to brawl, hittable as fuck. I'm trying to watch mitt work. I'm like, all right, has he been working on some shit over the past year? He's been out 6 months, but has he been working on some shit? And I'm watching him box, and I'm like, dog, Zach Reese is going to fucking tee up on him. Striking-wise, he's teeing off. And what? Duško's going to wrestle fuck him? I don't think so. I don't think Duško Todorović is nearly as good at wrestling as Azamat Bakoyev. I don't even think he's as good at wrestling as Cody Brundage, to be honest with you. So I think Zach Reese should be good to go. I'll say he knocks Duško Todorović out pretty violent fashion and gets a little hype back on him after getting destroyed by Azamat. But Azamat's a fucking prospect, Zach Reese, fun style to have on the roster. Good explosive striker with some good jiu-jitsu too. And I think he'll deliver a highlight reel knockout here in a fight that's going to be pretty crazy from the jump. Zach Reese, knockout. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Ramiz Brahimaj versus Billy Ray Goff. These two were not supposed to be fighting one another. Billy Ray Goff was scheduled to fight Seok-Hoon KO, and Ramiz Brahimaj was set for a fight against Oban Elliott. Both of them, visa issues. Now, Oban Elliott's fighting Seok-Hoon KO at that damn Azerbaijan card, Baku card, I think. Don't quote me on the damn name. I'm botching it. But this fight here, Ramiz Brahimaj and Billy Goff is going down. That's all that matters. I am picking Billy Goff to beat Ramiz Brahimaj. I'm not sold on, Ramiz has found his flow. Oh my God, he's in the training room with Bilal. I don't care. His wins are against the worst guys on the fucking roster, bro. Okay? Win against Sasha Palatnikov. Sasha had no ground skills, dog. And then win against Michael Gilmore. He shouldn't even been signed to the UFC. Win against Mickey Gall. To be honest, bro, Mickey Gall 7-7 now. I'm watching the Mickey Gall Brahimaj fight, and I'm going to tell you guys what I was thinking. I was like, wow. I think somehow Mickey Gall has gotten worse in his whole UFC run. Like, the start was better than now. He fell off fast, bro. Never really got better. And, I think he was worse in that fight against Brahimaj than he was in his, fucking UFC debut years ago. So, yeah, he looked impressive knocking him out. But, bro, it's Mickey Gall. Let's hold on for a second. I think Billy Ray Goff's a savage. I'm picking Billy Ray Goff to win this fight. I think Billy Ray Goff is going to be in Brahimaj's face, avoiding the takedowns. And I think Brahimaj is going to get made uncomfortable on the feet as Brahimaj is getting forced backwards. And Goff is ripping some heavy punch combinations. He rips the body nicely. He's got some power upstairs. And he also eats a big shot. Billy Ray Goff is not one of those guys that is scared of getting hit in the face because it doesn't seem to affect him. Trey Waters was hitting him with some heavy punches, and Trey Waters is long as fuck with really sharp boxing, and Goff is just walking him down the entire time. And to be honest with you, at the end of the fight, I thought the decision could have went either way. It was definitely closer than a 30-27. Billy Ray Goff was in that fight against Trey Waters in a brawl. I don't think Brahimaj can keep up with that type of brawl. I think Brahimaj needs to wrestle here, but it's not like Ramiz Brahimaj is some renowned wrestler. Like Themba Garimbo absolutely fucking manhandled him, all right? Court McGee manhandled him. It's not like Brahimaj is super strong in any area. Like he's shown a little bit of power recently, has some grappling in certain fights, but the guys that he beats are incredibly flawed. Whereas Billy Ray Goff, he's a fine-tuned prospect. He's 26 years old. He's very physically fit and strong. He can box well. He also can rip some kicks, but he can box well, not from a slick and technical standpoint, but from a pressure-based brawling boxing style where he can land big shots in the pocket. Billy Ray Goff's wrestling doesn't worry me in this fight. I don't see Brahimaj bullying him on the mat. I don't see that. I think Billy Ray Goff is going to force Brahimaj into a dogfight, and I think he's going to wilt Ramiz Brahimaj with some body work. Billy Ray Goff is a bit of a body snatcher, and Brahimaj is not going to like getting ripped to the body as they're close to the cage. Expect him to end up turtling up as big combinations are flying from Billy Ray Goff, and I think we're going to see a knockout win, and I think Goff is going to look pretty damn good in this fight and get some momentum building for himself. He's a solid prospect at 26 right now. And Brahimaj been on the roster a long time, but you know he's win-loss, dating back to pre-UFC 2018. And this is not going to be, I don't think, a break of the fucking routine. Win-loss. You keep looking down. It's all win-loss since 2018, bro. And I think that Billy Ray Goff keeps the trend going for Brahimaj, and I think he finishes him. I think he probably does knock Ramiz Brahimaj out, and I think Billy Ray Goff looks pretty good in this fight. I'm excited as hell for the matchup. As far as the odds for the fight, Billy Ray Goff, he's a 340 favorite. What was opening odds? 5-1 at open. Damn, son. I understand Brahimaj was a big underdog against Oban Elliott, but I thought it was because of Oban looking like a savage against Basil Afez and the hype for him blowing up. But I guess it's just Brahimaj is not well respected by the odds makers. Damn, son. Plus 265 on the Brahimaj side. I do think he gets wilted, and I feel good about a Billy Ray Goff pick because he's going to fight for your fucking money. Obviously, you're not going to bet on money line, but if you parlay him, he's going to fight for your fucking money, man. Even with Trey Waters, he's not stopping. He keeps throwing hard, and I like that. Dude is young as well. He's 26 years old. Billy Ray Goff, expect him to look like a savage here. Over is minus 210. Fuck the over. Billy Ray Goff, simply put, you can put him in a parlay, I think. And I believe he'll end up coming through as a chalky favorite. I think he wilts Ramiz Brahimaj. And I love the chance of a Billy Goff KOW too, because the hype is good for him, man. I like his style. I like the pressure-based brawlers, and I think he's just going to have more danger to his game than Ramiz. So Billy Ray Goff, the W by a knockout too, and watch for some body punches. Next fight on the card. It's our featured fight of the night. It's Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopes. I have a feeling about this one, man. I have a feeling about this one. I've had a feeling about it since I saw it. I think Bruno Lopes is going to find a way to beat Dustin Jacoby. And I've never been a Bruno Lopes guy, but he keeps proving me, like, I guess, somewhat wrong, like with Godzilla Sulov. And then obviously, like with Sazignani here. Then fucking with Brenson Ibero, he got starched a while ago. But let me tell you, man, I just think Bruno Lopes is easy to underestimate because he's like, I don't want to say unimpressive. But he doesn't have any flash. Like, let me tell you this. Vitor Petrino, who Dustin Jacoby knocked the fuck out of, way more of a menacing look. This big, jacked Brazilian powerhouse is throwing everything from the hip, guns a-blazing, and just, trying to put people into oblivion. But, not very smart. Bruno Lopes is more of a smart martial artist. What I see with Bruno Lopes is a decent fight IQ for a heavier weight class fighter, a well-versed game plan. Black belt in jiu-jitsu. Solid kickboxing game, like MMA kickboxing. Obviously, I know Dustin Jacoby, glory kickboxing, journeyman though, but still was a kickboxer as a professional and had a lot of fights. And his striking in MMA is pretty good. He's very tactical. You can tell the kickboxing influence. He's a technician, picks his shots well from long range, moves on the bicycle pretty well. But we've seen Jacoby crumbled a few times. We've seen him get hurt bad in a fight against Alonzo Menafield that was pretty back and forth. And I think Bruno Lopes is going to give him a difficult matchup. Lopes brings solid striking that I think could work well if he's able to close distance, right? Jacoby from the mid and long range is going to have an edge, but I think Bruno Lopes from mid and close range especially, his striking will look pretty good, specifically the hands. Kick for kick, it's not like Jacoby's got these crazy high kicks. He's got decent enough teeps down the center and leg kicks, right? And it's more so, in combination. It's not like he's using those to knock people out. Bruno Lopes, I would say heavier striker. Yes, Dustin Jacoby is an accurate striker who has knockouts. When I look at oomph in the shots, I feel like Lopes rips with more power. Of course, though, Bruno Lopes got caught against Sazignani on the damn Contender Series. Like, there's red flags. Brandon Barrow absolutely starched him. There's definitely red flags. But I think he could beat a Dustin Jacoby. It's like the technicality of Jacoby, and then Lopes, who's technical enough to close distance, land good shots, back him up, maybe even drag him to the ground. I just got a weird feeling here, man. I got a feeling Lopes is going to win with an MMA-based game plan, and he's going to find a way to beat the 37-year-old Jacoby, who at this point is a legit-ass gatekeeper, who finds ways to knock out decent fighters. Like the Petrino win was mad impressive, but Petrino is not smart at all. And then, the loss to Reyes. Obviously, Reyes is on fire right now, but he did get fucking crumbled. And then, obviously, Alonzo Menafield ends up dropping him late in that fight, and that's why he lost the decision. Beating Zechiku, who's kind of hot, cold, hit or miss, but doing good at heavyweight. Azamat Mirzakhanov decision loss. I don't know, man. Something tells me Bruno Lopes could get him to the ground. Bruno Lopes can back him up against the cage, make it more of a dirty fight. I just don't see Lopes getting ran over here. And then I'm thinking about 3 rounds of work, and I'm like, Bruno Lopes could get this fight to the ground. Bruno Lopes got a chin, even though I know he got knocked out. He's recovered from big shots before, though. I want to say Bruno Lopes finds a way to pull through. I see him landing a takedown. I see him backing Jacoby up, landing shots on the inside, able to close the gap against a guy that's normally decent at keeping that range. And I think Bruno Lopes has a decent performance here. I guess that would surprise a lot of people, right? The masses are picking. 70% is not crazy, but the masses are picking Jacoby. But I think it's Jacoby's time to get booted out from that top 20. And I feel like Bruno Lopes, at this point, he's a damn prospect. 32 years old versus 37. How much improvement is Bruno showing? He came into this fight against fucking Brandon Barrow as a huge favorite. He was expected to win. He was like this fine-tuned light heavyweight prospect, and then Barrow chins him. But Barrow's actually done pretty good in the UFC, so it's like that loss hasn't aged horribly, especially with the recent win over Gadzi Asulov and sending Gadzi out of the damn UFC. And Gadzi's a solid prospect. Gadzi's good from distance. Different fight than Jacoby, but like some comparisons could be made. I'm going to say Bruno Lopes finds a way to beat Dustin Jacoby. He doesn't get knocked out. He closes the distance, does well on the inside, maybe even mixes in some takedowns, and I think he beats Jacoby on the cards. Plus 157 for Lopes, Jacoby minus 182. And I said on the cards, but realistically, there's always a possibility of a finish when you got light heavyweights going after it. Over 2.5 is minus 107. You are playing with fire, picking an over under. Lopes could be live to do some damage here. I mean, if you look at Lopez's finishing rate, the dude's got fucking 6 KOs, 5 submissions, and 3 decisions. It's a well-versed attack. Then on the opposite side, you got 13 KOs, 1 submission, and then obviously 6 decision wins. But there's a possibility of the sub. I'm not saying it's like a high likelihood. The last time he was subbed up was a long time. But look at that win streak. I'm telling you, man. He went on a win streak of all win streaks. John Salter back in 2015. A win streak of all win streaks. Jacoby reached his high, fizzled, got a W, fizzling. I still think he's on the downslope of his career right now. And I think Bruno Lopes is on the upswing. So I'm going to say they're meeting at the right time for Bruno Lopes to get a hard-fought win. Even if, Jacoby did this and he did that with Khalil 3-4 years ago. It's 2025. And I think that I'm not going to overrate Dustin Jacoby's win against the plotting, explosive wild man, Vitor Petrino, enough so that he beats a guy that has a decent IQ in Bruno. So I'm going Bruno Lopes to find a way. Let's go. Next fight on the card. Co-main event of the evening. Mateusz Gamrot versus Ľudovít Klein. I'm picking Mateusz Gamrot to beat Ľudovít Klein in this one. I really think that he's going to be able to back Ľudovít up with the pressure wrestling, control a bit against the cage. Another factor in this fight, too, is that damn UFC Apex, I feel like, favors Gamrot a lot. Like, with his insane onslaught of takedown after takedown after takedown after takedown, you got to think that small cage is a blessing to him in this matchup here. Because you give Ľudovít some space, his striking is really clean. Nasty kicking skill set, explosive kicking skills. Definitely has a really dangerous Muay Thai-esque striking game, but it's also just his natural fast twitch athleticism that makes him very dangerous. Problem is, Mateusz Gamrot's relentless wrestling-based style puts Ľudovít Klein, who I would say is a well-rounded striker. He's not super one-dimensional. Like, he's shown grappling skills in his own right, but it puts Ľudovít Klein with his back against the wall, honestly, figuratively and literally here, because he's going to get backed up a bit by Gamrot, that he's going to have to do some damage to Mateusz Gamrot. He's going to have to hit Gamrot with some power shots. I understand Ľudovít Klein is on a nice streak right now. He's looked good for a while. You look at the last four. The Roosevelt Roberts win was fucking underwhelming, man. But I get it. Roberts 6'3", completely different frame than Mateusz Gamrot. Thiago Moises win in the moment looked good, but then Moises getting crumbled by Jared Gordon is like, how impressive is that W, though? The AJ Cunningham knockout, Cunningham's taking L's down in weight, man. 2 weight classes below, right? Win here against Bahamondes is nice. Bahamondes is a good prospect, and he showed some good grappling in that fight. He was able to outwork Ignacio Bahamondes, but still, it's Bahamondes nearly 2 years ago. I think Mateusz Gamrot is going to be able to back Ľudovít Klein up, timing some key takedowns, putting a pressure-based attack on him. But it's not like Mateusz Gamrot's this awful striker. He can strike a little bit too. Obviously, he got caught by Dan Hooker, but he also caught Dan Hooker. He was in a back-and-forth war with Dan Hooker. And I think Mateusz Gamrot W over Ľudovít Klein makes a lot of sense. I feel like the UFC is hoping, praying, and I think a lot of fans too, you guys can let me know in the comments, are hoping and praying that Ľudovít Klein starches Mateusz Gamrot. Because that pressure style with the wrestling, the takedown, the control, I know a lot of people get frustrated. But to be honest, that Dan Hooker fight brought the best out of Gamrot. I thought it was a pretty good back and forth. And I think with Ľudovít, it could be a decent fight, but I see Gamrot's wrestling getting the best of Ľudovít Klein. Like, I see Gamrot securing more control on Ľudovít Klein. I expect first round, even early second round, Ľudovít Klein's takedown defense could look pretty sharp here. And he could get taken down and then burst right back up to his feet because of that athleticism. But as time wears on, as the fight goes forth, I think that Gamrot's wrestling becomes more effective. In a 5-round fight, I feel like Gamrot is a more confident call. I think he's a bigger favorite too in a 5-round fight, because I would say that the pressure-based wrestling in a 5-round fight against an explosive and dynamic guy like Klein would be super effective in 3, 4, and 5. But here in a 3-round fight, it's going to be more interesting how Klein does in those first 2 rounds. Like, if he's able to sting Gamrot with some good shots, get ahead on the scorecards, do fairly well in the second round, even if round 3, Ľudovít's more tired, Gamrot's on point with the wrestling, but unable to finish, we could see Ľudovít Klein steal a decision here with good success early in the fight. It's just, I think Gamrot could be successful with wrestling throughout, and I feel like Ľudovít's going to be pushing a high pace, and I'm just not sure he can keep it up with Gamrot. I understand he's looked good. I know he's on a nice win streak. I've watched the whole damn win streak, but I think that Mateusz Gamrot is a bit of a different animal than all his recent opponents, man. The relentless attack of Gamrot, the fact that Klein is not really going to have a second to think or a second to breathe, right? Like, that Gamrot style is so in your face that you can't really rest, reset, and be like, okay, let's stand here. Let's feel each other out. I'm going to throw this. Okay, let me reset. Let me get my flow going. It's like Gamrot's going to be at you throughout the whole thing. And I think that type of attack is going to be a lot for Ľudovít Klein to deal with. And I'll say it's too much for him to deal with, man. I'm going to say Mateusz Gamrot beats Ľudovít Klein on the scorecards. And I think probably unanimous decision. I can see 2 rounds to 1. I feel like he secures the second and third. Klein could look better in the first. We're going to find out a lot after the first round, too, with Ľudovít Klein getting pressure wrestled. Like, does the gas tank diminish a ton? I don't know if he can pressure wrestle against a guy like Gamrot for 3 rounds. I don't think he can. So I'm going to say Gamrot, pressure-based wrestling game. I'll say he'll wilt Ľudovít. But when I say wilt, I don't mean he's going to finish him. Like, I think he'll go out there and put a good display on, good wrestling, good pressure, striking to engage in grappling, and beating an explosive up-and-comer in Ľudovít Klein. So we're going Gamrot for the W, man. Gamrot's a -160 favorite, which I agree with the odds. At open, it was 2-1, plus 140 for Ľudovít Klein. I definitely think Gamrot should be about that size as a favorite here. Let's see what the over is. Is it over 2.5? -300 for an over 2.5. And I do think we're live to go over 2.5. And I think it's a Mateusz Gamrot unanimous decision win. I think he pushes Ľudovít Klein to a place that he hasn't been before. And we can quickly look with some of Ľudovít's losses in the UFC. Nate Landwehr subbed him up. I'm not saying he's getting subbed up like the Landwehr fight, and that was at 145. That's 2021. It's a while back, but still, to be fair. Mike Trizano lost. Trizano actually really underrated, left the UFC off W's and doing good in bare knuckle. So give some respect to Trizano, man. I look at Ľudovít, he's definitely on a fucking roll. I mean, the dude's been on fire for years, but none of the opposition is like, okay, Gamrot style? Like, is there any comparability? I'd say not at all. He's fought, Roosevelt, who's more of a generalist. He fought Moises, who I guess is good at jiu-jitsu. Then he fought against AJ Cunningham, who is a brawler at best. And then he fought against Bahamondes, who's a tactical striker, who's developed better grappling for sure. But it was a year and 9 months ago. And then, he fought Jai Herbert in a close back and forth fight. Jai Herbert, I think Jai had that point deduction too. It was a weird matchup. But I'll say this. Nobody that he has fought over that win streak matches a Gamrot pressure wrestling like a damn psychopath. So I will favor the ballistic onslaught of wrestling and at times over wrestling, but at the apex especially, to be effective. We're going Mateusz Gamrot for a win to get back on track. I don't think you can overlook him, breaking RDA and winning a decision there. Even if it's an older RDA, still a W, still eventually wilts people. The Zia fight was an injury. Jalen Turner split decision. At the time, it was impressive, though. It was a back and forth war. Turner was a savage in that fight, to be real. You got to give Turner some respect. But Mateusz Gamrot still was able to come out with a win. The Dan Hooker fight's a back and forth war. More battle tested, more proven at a high level. I'll go Mateusz Gamrot, W. Let's jump to the ladies' main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Erin Blanchfield versus Macy Barber to close out the card. I'm going to go with Erin Blanchfield. I'm sticking with the Erin Blanchfield train. Now, am I saying she's going to put a Dagestan-style wrestling-based beating on Macy Barber for 5 rounds? Maybe not. But I do think that Erin Blanchfield can beat Macy Barber. And an aspect of this fight that I like a lot is that Erin Blanchfield has looked good going 5 rounds before. We haven't seen Barber 5 rounds in the UFC. We've seen Blanchfield in her past 2 fights go 5 hard. She did damage to Manon Fiorot in round 5 with that high kick. Yes, she lost the fight. She got outstruck. She couldn't get her down. But the Manon Fiorot loss, I don't want to say it's aged great because obviously Fiorot lost to Shevchenko, but she made Shevchenko struggle and she brought the fight to Shevchenko. And then fight after that, she takes out Thug Rose, who's a legend of the game, and she beats her over 5 hard rounds. I feel like Erin Blanchfield, both girls I was going to say are improving big time. Okay, I got to be honest. Both girls are improving big time. But Erin Blanchfield with that 5-round experience, I think it's a factor, especially because when you watch Macy Barber fight, she is ballistic from the get-go. She's a very high-paced, high-output striking style. She's well-versed. She does have good grappling skills too, and she breaks some of these girls because physically, she's got an edge, like athleticism-wise, over some of these more like average girls, like an Amanda Hebas who's coming up in weight, trying to run it with her. Macy Barber able to wilt her. Granted, that was 2 years ago now. It's kind of crazy. A year ago since we last saw her. But beating Caitlin Sermon-Armour, formerly Caitlin Chukagian, in the way that she did, outworking her, outmuscling her a bit, bullying her a little bit. Granted, she got taken down a little bit in that fight, but she burst back up fast. I think that Macy Barber was really impressive in that matchup. It's just with Erin Blanchfield, I can't go against her. I believe if you look at wrestling for wrestling, I'd favor Blanchfield as the one to land takedowns. I could see Blanchfield winning the grappling positional battle. And I think striking-wise, Barber's a bit faster and a bit more fast twitch too. But Blanchfield's still effective. She's got a good chin and she's consistently bringing pressure with decent straight shots. She's walking you down. Like, she's not fearing getting punched in the face. And with Macy Barber, who likes to throw a lot of volume, over 5 rounds, I'm curious to see how that style translates. Never having gone into the 4th round, the championship rounds before, never having seen that, whereas Blanchfield back-to-back has been in those fights against some of the best women on the planet. I feel like I can only favor Erin Blanchfield to find a way to beat a skillful Macy Barber, but a girl that I think she can technically outwork. I think with Erin Blanchfield in striking, even if Macy Barber may look more impressive offensively as far as the way the strikes look, like the technicality, the speed to them, the explosiveness, Blanchfield's still effective at landing shots. And Blanchfield still has a decent striking game that's only getting better. And on top of that, I do think Blanchfield is the more dominant wrestler, and I will predict she has a better pace for a 5-round fight, and I think she could outwork Macy Barber over 5. Both of these girls are absolute dogs. I see it as a very competitive ladies fight. It's kind of a top contender fight in a sense. Like, if Macy Barber wins, she definitely has an argument to be put in that title picture. For Erin Blanchfield, obviously the loss to Manon Fiorot probably makes her like 1 fight removed for it, especially with Natalia Silva. But who knows? Like, if Weili Zhang jumps up in weight, the winner of this fight could end up fighting Natalia Silva in a #1 contender matchup. I think that Erin Blanchfield finds a way to outwork Macy Barber. I see her finding a way to muscle her to the ground, get on top, just a bit of control. I do think Macy could get back up to her feet, but I think Blanchfield will have more successful moments. I think Barber gets some good strikes off earlier in the fight. But as this fight goes on, I think as we hit round 3, that Barber explosiveness and, quick, nasty, high output starts to diminish, percentage based, but starts to diminish 20%, 10%. Blanchfield's getting some strikes off. Blanchfield keeps coming forward. She doesn't wilt. She doesn't stop. She doesn't lose confidence. She just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. Then the takedown lands. Then the ground and pound's working. Then dominant position. And then who knows from there if maybe she gets a later stage finish too. But I'm going to say Erin Blanchfield finds a way to beat Macy Barber. I think she outworks her over 5 hard rounds. I think she's got the tank to do it. I think she's got the relentlessness to do it. And I definitely think she's got the toughness to deal with Macy Barber's shots. I'm going to say Erin Blanchfield wins this fight and gets herself back in the, most high level of the upper echelon. But to be fair, she just beat Thug Rose. She's right there. She's right there. Like, this is the fight that then gets her a top contender fight. And she could be in the title picture come early 2026 for sure. And I think she beats Macy Barber, who 27-year-old prospect, 26-year-old, like prospect contenders. They might fight again at some point. I see Macy Barber getting better. I see Blanchfield getting better. I could see both of them fighting for the belt. I just think right now, this matchup with Macy not having been in those 5-round main event fights in the UFC, it worries me too much, man. Like, if you look, 3-5, 3-5, right? Look at that. Come on, 3-3. We can't find no 5. I'll be honest, I thought she lost to Miranda Maverick. I thought she lost that fight years ago. I think we see her outworked. I'm looking back at the Grasso and the Modafferi loss, dude. She got broken by Modafferi. Modafferi was a savage in that too. Ripped up the knees of Barber. I think Erin Blanchfield decision win. Later stage submission is live, though, because Blanchfield definitely has the strangle threat in this matchup here, but I'll favor the side of 5 rounds of work. Erin Blanchfield, a little more cold-blooded, like the nickname has it, and a little more of a dog. And I feel more confident back in the Erin Blanchfield side because I've seen rounds 4 and 5. I haven't seen that with Barber. I can't pick Barber. I'm going Erin Blanchfield for the W. The odds for the fight around the -225 range for Erin Blanchfield to win. Macy Barber around +190 as a fair size underdog. I thought the odds would stay closer. Like -175 to +140. I was like, all right, those odds make sense. But damn, they've gotten wide towards the side of Blanchfield. What's the over at? Is it over 4.5, -230? I lean over 4.5, but if you were actually going to touch, I'd say over 2.5 better. Because there is a chance that Barber is tired late in the fight. We don't know how she looks in 4 or 5 with the high pace that she normally brings, and Blanchfield's on her back and strangles her. Because Blanchfield's jiu-jitsu's good, man. Not that Barber's isn't. Barber's clean too with it. Just I think Blanchfield's got a better strangle and a little physically stronger. Not as explosive, not as athletic, but I think gonna have more of a 5-round style. And with the grit factor, the toughness, and the never back down, that relentless pressure, I think Erin Blanchfield beats Macy Barber and probably decision or later stage submission. And I'm curious too, 76% of the people picking Blanchfield as well. I'm not shocked by people picking Barber because she looks real good. If it's a 3-round fight, it's a different conversation because the first 2 rounds, Barber quick, hard to track down, defending takedowns, throwing a ton of shots. 5 rounds, even if she does that in the first 2, we got 3, 4, and 5. We got a lot of time for Blanchfield to find her range and to find her takedowns. And I think she does. Erin Blanchfield wins the main event of UFC Vegas 107. And I'm happy to have fights back for sure. Not super stoked, like, yo, this is the most stacked fight night ever. We're at the Apex again, but we're doing one more Apex, and then all of June is just banger card after banger card. So I'm very excited for June. We got like the little appetizer to the savage main courses of June that I think are going to deliver with some fire. So I hope you guys enjoyed the full card predictions. Definitely let me know in the comments what you thought of the picks. Let me know the ones you agree with the most, and I want to hear the ones you're like, yo, I'm on the complete opposite, because I want to know what the community's thinking early in the week. I love you all. Thank you guys for watching. Smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, and turn the post notifications on too, because you don't want to miss a video or a live stream. I got content coming every single day of the week, so keep it locked in. And if you got nothing in the comments to say, but you enjoy the content, just leave a W in the chat. to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I see you guys all week. Much love. Peace out.